Okay, I'm here to talk about. You could tell from the title. This is a series that I want to break down and analyze a bit. Let's hold on. Let me go to Google real quick because I'm just watching a YouTube video about some stuff about you know some Texas Chainsaw Massacre shit. But I just want okay. I I just want to break down everything. This is not even recent. Come on, motherfuckers. This is not even recent. Can I find a picture that's actually recent to a timeline that I can actually look at on Google Maps? I mean, on Google Maps. Technically, it's a map that I am looking at. Alright, this is fun. This is fun. This is good. Even though it's not probably talking about the whole thing of what I'm talking about, but I will talk about some honorable mentions if I can remember them. So, I'm only saying that right now because I'm going to talk about the series for a while. Alright? A while. Alright. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1. It's a bona fide classic, obviously. It is. There's barely any drop of blood. The only drop of blood you see in the movie is the cut in the finger and maybe the girl that's getting hanged and you see blood in the background, basically. Because it's supposed to indicate that, it's splattered in the background, but that cut is kind of weird in a way to point to say that maybe it was already there to begin with, you know? So I give that a pass and I really won't count that. The one that I will count instead of the finger one is when Franklin gets chainsawed and his sister was like, she literally didn't even freaking move him out of the way to protect a handicapped motherfucker. Look, the reason I say motherfucker, a handicapped motherfucker, or anything like that, motherfucker, I don't mean to, imply anything. I don't want people to get upset that I said that. I'm saying that right now. But she literally she literally never pulled a handicapped person out of the way. She let her own brother die that is handicapped, died. Sorry. That's just my own analysis in the movie when I first saw the movie. I'll say this right now. When I first saw the movie, I didn't believe that this is actually the movie. I thought I was watching a fan film. And I think I pointed this out before in my other video. Where I was showing off the t-shirts and shit like that. And the plushie. And you can see Bubba right there. You know. But it's true. When I have to mention this, when I first saw this movie, I literally thought it was just a fan-made movie. I was like, this is not the real Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Because I never watched the trailer. I didn't watch the trailer until I watched the movie. Once I saw the movie, I saw the trailers and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I really, it already sunk in that this was the real movie. But once I saw the trailer, it really sunk in that, yes, this is it. Hey, what do you expect? I was young. Oh! I was young. I was stupid. Going back to that shit. But I'm not getting into that. If you want to see that more, then watch the other video. Don't have to say that here. But, again, going back, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1, classic. It does look at Bubba in a... If you analyze the movie a bit, Bubba is kind of a tragic character. Horror character more than Jason Voorhees, in my opinion. That's just me. Bubba Sawyer, when you look at Bubba Sawyer, you really feel sorry for him. And when you look at his family members, you'd be like, go fuck yourself. He deserves to have a better life than you motherfuckers do. That's just me. Do I enjoy the family? Hell yeah, man. The families are the highlight. They're the reason why they make this fucking goddamn movie. The dinner scene in this movie, iconic as fuck. I remember one time when I first saw this movie. I was watching bits and pieces of it with my mom the first time I watched this movie, and then I left to go to my friend's house, and I left my mom watching that movie, Paul her, because she was like, "You gonna leave me here watching this movie?" And I'm like, "Sorry, my friend wants to hang out with me." And I came back and I told her, "Hey, did you watch the whole movie?" And she's like, "No, I didn't watch the whole movie. I was fucking terrified to the point that I didn't watch the whole movie." So one day I was like, "We watched it together one day." So we did. We watched it together. And bro, what a ride. What a ride. What a fucking ride. Seriously, you know in Terrifier 3, you get that chainsaw theme and everything like that, and most people throw up on that and are feeling kind of nauseous with that scene, and I can feel, I can feel sympathy with that, because I felt the same way. I'm going to look at my video about that, because I say the same shit with that. But in this movie, you don't feel that way. You just feel creeped out to the point that you'd be like, I don't want to be in this environment. Because, guys, that's what I love about this movie. It's show and don't tell. That's what I love about this movie. They don't show blood and guts and splatter everything. Why? Because they don't need that. Oh, it's because they didn't have the budget of it. No, bro. Just because they didn't have the budget of it doesn't mean they wasn't creative to be like, all right, we don't have the budget of it, then we're going to do something else. And what do you think some of these horror movies are still talked about to this day? To this day, some of these horror movies that we talk about to this day barely have blood in it, and they call and it became rated R. And we're over here looking at it, be like, if it came out today, that shit would be PG-13. The first Halloween movie, the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, yeah, it would be a PG-13. Sorry. Those movies would never be rated R. I'm sorry. Nowadays, if those movies came out, they would never, no. Sorry. Some of you guys will say, no, they'd be rated R. And you're giving it too much credit. You're giving it too much credit. It's because it came out in the 70s. And you know how the 70s were if you analyze the history of the 70s. I know I did because my mama grew up in the 70s. So no shit, I was going to look at the history of the 70s. Same thing when I look at the history when my grandparents were born too. And my great-great-grandparents. Like my mom's, like my grandparents' mother and shit like that. I'm not one of those fucking people that never do that shit. That's a side note. But you need to, like, in my personal opinion, you have to do that shit. You have to. No, you don't need to. You have to. As a personal shit. Seriously. Because if you don't know your history or your family's history, you're doomed to repeat it. But that's a side note. Going back to this movie. The first Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie is a fucking classic and should be fucking remembered forever. Alright? Some people might be like, oh, it's not that as scary as people putting it out to be. But to be quite honest, bro, the graininess of this movie, oh god. Why we can't get horror movies that are literally like, hey, let's make a movie that has a filter that's grainy as fuck. Just shooting and raw footage on your phone or some shit like that. Why do you think Paranormal Activity did so well? But some of these horror people don't fucking get it. I'm not saying you should do that. But hey, imagine the first Halloween movie being grainy like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It will literally give off a documentary feel. Not to say it kind of doesn't, but in a way it kind of does not, because it's leaning on that horror trope, basically, which is fine. Halloween, the original Halloween, is leaning to that horror trope. It knows it's inspired by classic horror on its sleeve, but it's doing something new in the process, and it's giving a new iconic horror character that if the 30s and 40s saw that shit, they'd be like, no, cancer. I'm dead serious. It's the same thing with Leatherface. If imagine this, if the 40s and 50s and 30s and 20s and 10s children saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the first one, oh, the movie would never be shown. It will never be podcast. Are you serious? No, I'm dead serious. Know your history about movies. And if this movie came out back then in the 40s, exactly like this, the 20s, I'm dead serious, bro. This movie probably would have never seen the light of day or would have been fucked up in the process, edit-wise. Just think about that for a moment. The people that are hardcore love the history of filmmaking and the art style of it. You gotta understand this stuff. That's why a lot of people love my videos sometimes, because I love this shit. I love this shit. I do. I love this shit. And many people on the internet love it too. Reasons why we get the directors like Steven Spielberg, Peter Jackson, and George Lucas, for example. You know, and then we get like amazing actors like Michael Keaton, what's his name, Tim Curry, and Mark Hamill. Because those type of things, they know who they are, and they know what they're talking about, and they know what they're dealing with, basically. I miss that shit. I fucking miss that shit. I miss that shit in Hollywood so much that it's like, bro, you're not the same thing as you was. Not to say you're not more corrupt as you was before, but that's a side note. So, the ending to Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1 will always stick with your head. Leatherface, like, dragging almost literally his feet to get the final girl and chainsaw her while she's running away, and she's like, go! Go! Would you believe, Toby Hooper wanted this to be a comedy? I don't know if that's 100% true, but if that scene of the woman bloody as fuck, traumatized as fuck, telling the other driver to go, 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 while a guy with a chainsaw is chasing her, and he's thinking that's a comedy? Maybe that was the intent for him to try to make a comedy, and maybe there could be blood, and that's fine. But, what he produced was not a comedy, bro. At the time, people thought that this was a snuff film. My mama was a baby when this movie came out. Same thing with Halloween 1. My mama was a baby when these two movies came out. To me, Leatherface is the godfather of horror. Michael Myers will always be the king. I will always give him that crown. Because Jason and Freddy, they have their own little crown. And they deserve it. But as Michael is the king, but Leatherface is the godfather. Leatherface is the godfather of horror. Plain, blank, and simple. Most people might be like, what about the Universal Monster movies? Or the Norman Bates movie? Oh, trust me. Those movies can run, so the other movies that we talk about today, the horror movies, can fly. That's why we still talk about those movies to this day too. Alright? We haven't hit Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 yet, and I'm still talking about 1. Number 1 is a classic and should be watched when you feel like you want to watch it. Because the thing is, a lot of people think that when they think about Texas Chainsaw Massacre, they think it's gory as fuck, fucked up as fuck. That's the thing. You think about the Saw shit. The Saw version of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But the first movie is not like that at all. It's actually tame compared to Texas Chainsaw Massacre the beginning, Texas Chainsaw Massacre the remake. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the Netflix version, which I kind of have a soft spot for that movie still to this day. I'm sorry, guys. I can't hate on that movie. It's too much fun. It is. Some people might say, oh, it's just bad that it's good. But the movie knows what it is. It's not trying to do anything to the point that it's like, oh, let me do what these other ones do. They know they have Leatherface. They know they have this iconic horror character. So they were like, you know what? What do people want to see with Leatherface? Kill fucking people. Okay, there we go. Yeah, we're done. Do you want to see him kill fucking people? Then there you go. Oh, but there should be structure and story to it. I get it. You want the family. I want the family too. But guess what? If Leatherface is doing his thing, killing fucking people and not drinking a fucking goddamn a sip of tea, like in fucking The Generation, oh, we'll get to that soon. I will give you my experience on that one. Then we won't be bothered basically at that point. You know, it's like what the fuck. So I talked about a lot about Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1. It is you should watch it if you haven't watched it. If you are scared of it as fuck, well, guess what? You should be. Because this movie is grainy as fuck. And it looks beautiful. The art style is beautiful. The cosmic horror stuff on it is beautiful. And the fact that people analyze it, and also the family, and also the character Leatherface itself, is great. Before I continue on with the other movies, I will point out this. A lot of people don't like Leatherface as a tragic character, but he's always been a tragic character since the beginning of the series. He's a disabled person that the family took advantage of. When I've told people that, they've all agreed with me. And they've literally said, yeah, man, that if he was just part of if his family wasn't the way he was, he probably would have end up a probably decent person, or pretty good person, or a beautiful artist. And I'm like, yeah, seriously. I've talked to people in cons, my own friends and family. They've literally admit that, hey, the Leatherface would be a fucking iconic artist if he wasn't dragged into this bullshit of his family. If he was a real life person. If he was a real life person. But he's a fictional character. I want this movie in a spiritual enlightenment way, because we'd be here longer than we need to. Because if I did, you guys will know it's two sides of the same coin. Of the original people and the wicked beings. And that's all I'm going to go for with. Moving on to Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. This movie is also great. You mean to tell me you think this movie is shit because it's a horror comedy? Ever since I saw this movie, I always thought the horror comedy enhanced more of the horror. I was more scared of this movie than the original. I'm going to admit you that right now. Why? Because they use comedy with it. Most people are like, why would that make you disturbing and make you think that this is more fucked up? Because they're cannibals. You making a fun comedy with cannibals in it? Bro, that's sadistic and that's fucking genius to do. To be honest, originally Tobe Hooper wanted what we see in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. That's what he wanted. That is his vision. That's why he likes it so much. Tobe Hooper, that is what we wanted in the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre is literally Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. People might hate it, people might disagree with it, but that's what Tobe Hooper was aiming for. And to be quite honest, with Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, he hit it off the park. He realized his mistakes with Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1, even though that was a cult classic that made him big, he enjoyed it, but he was like, I'm going for more of a comedy theme. I'm going for more of a less, PG theme. you know? And then he still made Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, and that still became rated R. Which I will not disagree to make that rated R, because, like I said again, I think it's more disturbing than Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1. Alright? You have a sexy fucking woman going apeshit crazy at the end, dancing with a fucking chainsaw at the end. To be honest, if you literally just put Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1 and 2, and that was it for you, what a series. What a series. And by the way, I forgot to mention, in the trailer for Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1, they literally admitted, this is the horror movie to end them all. And what a way to go if they did. Imagine they made no more horror movies after Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1. What a way to go. That's all I have to say. Moving on to Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. I grew up with this movie a lot more than 1 and 2. It has a special place in my heart. This is literally the MTV of Leatherface. We know the MTV of Jason and the MTV of Freddy. What's the MTV of Leatherface? Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. I don't get the hate for this movie at all. I enjoyed it. The fact that we got Leatherface's daughter in this movie, it's hinted that the little girl that you see is his daughter. And I've always thought that is his daughter. But for crying out loud, you have a scene with her on his lap, talking to her like a daddy and kissing her on the lips. And he's moving on. Like, look, I get it. I get it. Some people might be like, look, if Leatherface is going to have a daughter, cool. But she's too, like, aware, basically. Because if you're going to have a father that's disabled, like Leatherface is in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1, will you have a daughter that's like that? But me, I don't mind it. I don't care. If you are going to have a daughter that's like that, okay, fine. But if you're not, okay, cool. Maybe the daughter just wants to... Maybe the daughter just wants to, I don't know, be aware and be knowing from these other stuff to protect her daddy? Maybe she's a daddy's girl. I don't know. They don't go far with it in this movie, but it's there to chew on. And it's there to think about. And that's why I like about Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. And yo, the brother in this movie, I love the actor in this movie. The fact that originally they were going to kill him off, I'm over here like, why? This is one of the parts that I actually agree with the audience to keeping that brother alive. Alright, I know there wasn't that many kills probably in this movie, but you know what? That is fine. I don't care. I'd rather have a good, fun, adventurous horror movie like this one than something that would get with the next movie. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4, The Next Generation. Before I talk about that, let's talk about more about Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. There is some references to Chainsaw Massacre 2 here. The main heroine from TM2 is in this one. And to be quite honest, I've always been attracted to her ever since I first saw the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. I think, alright, sorry about that. So Stretch, I believe. Stretch, hot as fuck. And there's a picture of her with as the actress holding a chainsaw like this and shit like that, and she's looking all sexy and shit. I'm over here like, oh god, like more movies of her, please, please. The fact that Hollywood is looking at her and being like, oh no, you're stupid, you stupid, you stupid, you stupid. You have a perfectly good actress right here that's willing to do more Texas Chainsaw Massacre shit, than you can fathom in your mind. Because she loves this shit. Alright? And she respects it. And she looks good holding a chainsaw. Let's just say that, right? Alright? Bubba and Stretch. Literally, Michael Myers couldn't find a waifu. Jason couldn't find a waifu. Freddy found a waifu. Chucky found a waifu. At least Chucky stood with that waifu. Freddy killed his waifu. Because he's a fucking disgusting piece of shit if he was a real person. Just saying. But character-wise, you just look at that and you be like, good God. the downward spiral of how he became what he became, you know? So, moving on. TM4. Okay. I'll be honest with you, when I first saw this movie, I was creeped out by it because they actually keep the graininess that you see from the first movie. In my opinion. So it does have a creep factor to it. And at first, you do get creeped out by it. And at first, you'd be like, oh shit, this is going to be scarier probably than the first one. Then it goes downhill. Some people talk about the acting. No. Some people want to argue about Matthew McConaughey. To be honest, he's the highlight of that movie. To be quite honest with you. And the main heroine is also the highlight of that movie. They steal the show in that movie, in my opinion. So does the woman that flashes herself, by the way. Shout out to Dr. Woofula. Did I mention she's a porn star? Yeah, she's a porn star. Look it up. Most people are like, what are you doing? Me, I'm over here like, horror. Hey man, sex and violence and horror is just literally part of the fucking thing. And if you're not into it, then I don't know what to tell you. It's been like that since the dawn of time. Seriously. I mean, for crying out loud, sometimes when a civilization falls and another one rises, what do people do right afterwards? They make new babies. Oh my god, they're fucking. Oh my god, they're fucking after they just destroyed the civilization. Yeah. That happens sometimes. Is it fucked up? It probably depends on the eye of the beholder, I guess. I'm just saying that because different perspectives. It just depends what happens to you personally, you know? For example, if you destroyed a fucking piece of shit motherfucker that deserves a fucking beating and deserves to fucking die, and you're with a freaking sexy woman, of course you're gonna fucking celebrate. But that's a side thing. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4, man. You have Leatherface and drag, which could be intimidating and scary and cool, but they make him scream throughout this whole movie, and it's annoying. It's annoying. Especially everybody has pointed this out. Everybody has pointed this shit out, and I cannot do justice with it, because I feel like every time these people mention it, I feel like I cannot do justice with it. The fact that Leatherface was screaming when the main heroine, I cannot even open my eyes because it is that fucking stupid as fuck. When Leatherface screams and the main heroine literally tells him, You sit you fucking goddamn ass down. And Leatherface sits down and stays fucking quiet? Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre Netflix version would not do it. Would literally kill her. Texas Chainsaw 3 would kill her. The remake and prequel would kill her. The original would definitely kill her. And even the sequel would kill her. But the fourth movie just stands there and acts like a bitch. That is not my Leatherface. You see this? You see this Leatherface right here? This is the Pretty Woman mask. Pretty Woman look. And by the way, in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4, The Next Generation, when he's having that dress look, that's supposed to be the Pretty Woman look. Because it's supposed to be like a redo of the whole series. Even though it's a sequel after the first one. So he's having that Pretty Woman look. It could have been iconic as fuck. It could have been. And it could have made it scary as fuck. But Leatherface fucking screaming, bitching, moaning, screaming, bitching, moaning. I got sick of it. The Matthew McConaughey stuff, in my opinion, that's his movie. That's his movie. That's his movie. You can still call it Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I don't give a fuck. That's fine. Just take Leatherface out in this movie. Because he's complete shit in this movie. I will give this credit, though. The ending, when he's doing a chainsaw dance, and he's like, ah, yeah, 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 yeah. And then it cuts. That almost made me think I watched a good movie. Almost. But then I was like, haha, you tricked me. But I will give you flowers for that scene alone. Because that right there is cool. Even though they kind of showed it in the trailer. And apparently the family of Leatherface is part of the Illuminati. Which a lot of people are like, Me, I'm over here like, that would actually kind of make sense. Why would you think they get away with all this shit? You know? But that's just me. As a fan. But what do I know, right? What do I know? You know? Let these people get away with fucking everything without any consequences. That's not how real life works, you fucking dumbass. Seriously. Idiot. Fucking idiot. But Cosmic Horror-wise, when you don't find out anything about anything, and if that was the main goal, even though it's not intentional, it's rooted in it, then you know what? Because look at the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre again. Do you get any answers at all? No. It's still a mystery. It's still the unknown. And you're still terrified of it. That is Texas Chainsaw Massacre in a nutshell. And I love it. So, let's continue on. To be honest, I know a lot of people might hate me for this, but the ending to the prequel of the remake actually does this. Let's start with Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning. Let me start with this one. The reason I'm going to start with this one is because I actually watched this way more than the original. Remake, basically. I love the mask in this movie. I love the DVD cover for this movie. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning, the poster of this movie, the cover of it, I love it. I think it's good. I know a lot of people are not fans of this movie, but I don't give a shit. I actually like this movie. And the fact that the ending is literally fucked up and grim as shit, and you don't even find out what happens with the people that Leatherface runs over with the car, with the cops, and the parents with the people that they killed, goes to the original, to the point that it leaves a mystery, leaves you terrified, and leaves you to the point of like they escaped, they made it. Even though that narrator at the end, even though it's a good narrator, I would never complain about that voice as narrator. I think he's the same guy that did the original also, right? I believe. So I would never complain about that original narrator that did the remakes and the original one, because that voice brings command. It brings command to the screen. That's why I think. But let's go to oh yeah, all right, the beginning. I think the kills are pretty cool. In the beginning wise, it is cool to see Leatherface's mask, how he gets them, when he first becomes Leatherface, basically. So there's a lot of things I like about Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning. So let's move on with Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the remake by Michael Bay. I know a lot of people hate this movie because it was the start of I mentioned this before, it was the start of the other remakes that a lot of people do not like. But I'll say this one little thing. The fact that we got the old man that was on the wheelchair in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the remake, the fact that we got him in a truck in Jason remake, Friday the 13th remake, and Jason just literally kills one of the jocks that is a dick, stabs the machete in him, which is one of the best kills in the whole series, in my opinion. He stabs him with the machete and brings him out of the fucking, like literally, he just stabs him with the machete and grabs the machete from the other end and takes it out and shit like that. And the guy's like, oh, and I'm over here like, yeah! Because the guy is a fucking terrible fucking, he's not a terrible actor, I'll say that right now. Because that actor made me hate him. I legitimately want to spit on this fucking goddamn screen. And if you can do that with me, and if you could do that with a character, you know what? Seriously, there's not a lot of people, especially in horror, that can make me look at the screen and make me want to spit and throw so much shit at you to the point that I wish the horror villain killed you. Seriously, it's like that. When you watch like some other horror movie, you're like, oh man, I want this motherfucker to torture you to death. Yeah, because they're just a bad fucking person. They're just a piece of shit. They're a dick, But anyways, going back to Friday the 13th, the remake, when literally Jason just kills the jock, and he throws the jock in the truck and sticks him and impales him and shit like that. Guess who's in the front row? Guess who's driving the truck? The scrawny guy from Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake that's in the wheelchair. And in the beginning, he's just the one that stands by and sees what happens, because he's just like that. The fact that happened, the fact that I noticed that, even when I first saw this movie, Friday the 13th, the remake, I thought that was pretty awesome. And it showed me that they really wanted to make a big giant series connected, but they couldn't, because they fucked it up. They fucked it up. They did, they fucked it up. We could have had a trilogy of series connecting to each other. We could have had the Freddy remake versus the Jason remake. We could have had that a long time ago, and then eventually get crossovers with freaking Freddy and Michael Myers and shit. But it's like they wanted to do that, but we never got it. Maybe one day we will. You know, if they decided to do a renaissance of horror and make it what it should be. You know, I'm not talking about like, you know, crossovers or like a thing that should happen, but it should be to the characters that deserve it, basically. And get some new horror icons that people adore and love and appreciate. That's just me. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the remake, is a fun, unique movie. A good remake, in my opinion. One of the best remakes of all time, in my opinion. And I think the mask for Leatherface is fine. I kind of wish he kept the boyfriend's face with the main heroine. Oh, the main heroine for this movie, mother, milky titties. I love them. And that waist. That waist, the Jessica Rabbit waist, and the mother big juicy mother titty milkers. Oh my god. I love my big titty woman. Seriously. God, especially big titty woman with glasses. Oh. Don't get me started. Woo. Seriously. Don't get me started, because then they would get started. Because they know how I am. But, this movie is really iconic in my opinion. I can watch it any day of the week. Same thing with the original. If anyone's in the mood for it, I won't watch it any day. But if someone's like, hey, you want to give a week of just watching this and this remake? And I'll be like, yeah, why not? You know, of like that month and stuff like that. Yeah, I wouldn't mind, you know. Because you know how it is sometimes. Sometimes you get your fill and then you're like, all right, I need a break. You know. That's just me. Because you just want to see other shit. You want to see something new. You want to see something more broad and more perspective wise. But this one, this remake, I had no complaints about it, to be quite honest with you. I have less complaints about it the way I have less complaints about it with Friday the 13th, the remake. So, that's just me. Moving on. Leatherface. The one that he's a kid. Wears the fucking... What is it? Cow head and shit like that. I didn't watch this movie. I didn't watch it. But supposedly it's a prequel to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and it's a sequel. I didn't know this was part of the 3D universe. Remember Texas Chainsaw 3D? I didn't know this was part of the universe of it. But from what I can see here, from this thing, it is. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, and correct me if this is stupid and not accurate. But I didn't watch Leatherface. I didn't watch this movie. So, moving on. And I want to, that is one of the honorable mentions, I will say. Because I didn't watch it. Another honorable mention is Cannibal. There is a movie called Cannibal. And it looks like it's Leatherface. And there is literally Leatherface grabbing it, has a chain, dragging that chain, and the end of that chain is a chainsaw. If that doesn't tell you, I want to watch that shit. I don't care if it is shit. Then, yeah, you're like me. I haven't watched that shit at all. I haven't watched it. I heard the movie's really bad. But I can't help myself to mention it because the concept of Leatherface having a chain dragging that he's dragging a chainsaw with it at the end of that chain. Bike chain, anything, I don't care what chain. But the fact that he's literally has a chainsaw connected to it, he could just whip it like that, like Simon Belmont in Castlevania. Oh, hell yeah. Let me watch that movie. I don't give a shit if it is crap. I want to see do his thing. Seriously. Moving on. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the Netflix version. This movie, I do not get the hate for it at all. At first, I kind of didn't like Leatherface's mask, but it actually grew on me. It's probably one of the best masks, you know, right next to the original mask. Yep, I said it. It's probably one of the best masks. And when it's covered in blood, look, other people have mentioned this too. When it's covered in blood and it's drenched and it's sticky and you can see it in the movie, oh, great. And I love the part when the female heroines are like, ah, has a chainsaw and they go like, ah, and they hit Leatherface like this. Lil, this movie was just having fun with Leatherface. It really was. It literally was. It didn't care if it was canon. It didn't care if it was trying to be canonically correct. All it wanted to be was a chainsaw movie and have fun with the character. And you know what? They succeeded, in my opinion. People want to talk shit about this movie, especially the part with the bus. In my opinion, that's one of the best scenes in the whole movie, because when... That's just me. If you guys see my video about this movie, you guys know how I feel about that scene. I don't care, like literally... Oh, you got cancer. Really? Oh, I got cancer, motherfucker? I cancel you with a fucking chainsaw, motherfucker. Oh, I love it. I love it. I fucking love it. People do not know. People cannot stress how much I love that shit. I cannot stress how much I love that scene. Because you're going to be like, oh, you cancel culture bullshit? Is that what you want to do? Okay, let me take this chainsaw and stick it straight up your candy ass. Alright? Seriously. And then when Leatherface is freaking killing them, literally double team, slicing one person that's running away and then sticks it to another person that is in the fucking bus, and you see them on the fucking bus mirror, and they're like, oh, yeah, blood coming out, and they're like, because they're getting stabbed by somebody else and shit like that. And I'm over here like, yeah, you deserve it, bitch. That's what you get when you want to get on the bus, and that's what you deserve when you go to another place and try to take someone else's neighborhood. Alright? I played GTA San Andreas. I know what it is. Alright? If CJ was Leatherface, we'd be all rooting for him and taking that fucking goddamn neighborhood back. Don't fuck with me. You know that shit. You know you would do it. And if there was a mission on that in GTA San Andreas, you know you would do it and you condone it. Don't fuck with me. You know you will. Seriously. Alright? That's why I never argue with Leatherface if someone goes to his territory. Motherfucker's trying to protect his land, his territory. I would too. Fuck you. Seriously. Hey, do you know the next bus stop? Yeah, it's back where you came. That skit from Family Guy. But overall, how do I feel about this series? I like it. I enjoy this series. Overall. There's some missteps, but some of the movies that people complain about, I don't really get. Because I know everyone looks at the first one as the masterpiece. But guys, even the second one knew that it couldn't compete with the first one. So it did its own thing. Might as well. And I'm not talking about doing your own thing to the point that you write off of what Leatherface is. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Look at the past. Learn from it. And adapt from it. And evolve from it. That's all I need to say about the franchise. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Probably someone I know someone probably want me to talk more about this franchise, but that's really all I have to say about it. You know, I enjoy it for what it is. One and two, I'll stay my 1, 2, and 3. I'll stay my favorite, hands down, forever, because I grew up with it and I love them to death. Um, you could say the Netflix version is a guilty pleasure for me, but I enjoy that shit actually more than 3D. Even though I actually kind of like 3D. Do I like it more than the Netflix version? Fuck no. But I like it for what it is. But I can understand if no one doesn't like these movies, you know. But I will say this: what do you expect? The first one is an icon like fuck, and the other ones are just like we're not competing with that. And if you think we're trying to compete with that, then you have too much high standards. And it's like, yeah. If you're expecting a modern Leatherface Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie to be like the first one, you're a fool. You are a fool. Just like I said before with wrestling, just enjoy what you like and move the fuck on. And that's all I need to say about this franchise. Love it or hate it. Bubba, Bubba up there will always be the godfather of horror. Hands down.